reporting traumatic brain injuries. Does the president think that the action that was taken a couple weeks ago to push back on this was enough?
The president felt like those were two legitimate targets directly tied to the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps that supports these militia groups, and they were ammo, weapons facilities, certainly legitimate targets that we believe not only had a practical effect on limiting some of their capability, but sent a strong signal of how seriously we're going to look after our troops and facilities. If and when we decide to respond again in the future, we'll do it at a time and in a manner of our choosing. We will absolutely take the action that we need to take. The president, as commander-in-chief, will order that action to protect our troops and facilities as he sees fit.
Has there been any additional warning from the president since the last time we responded that this needs to stop? Because clearly the attacks on our troops didn't stop.
I will not get into the decision-making process or options before the commander-in-chief. I would just tell you that we will continue to take the action we believe is appropriate to protect our troops and our facilities.
And then on the apparent disagreement between the U.S. and its ally, to some of the other questions that you've already gotten, it is notable that we're seeing the U.S. more readily acknowledge some space between what we're advising and what Israel is doing. Like, Israel appears to be resisting the humanitarian pauses still. The president, the administration have been calling that for a couple of weeks, saying that we don't support indefinite occupation. That was a State Department briefing today after Netanyahu said that Israeli forces could be there for an indefinite period of time. And even in the readout from the call with the Prime Minister, the White House readout used again the language of extremist settlers. This is somewhat notably different than the kinds of language we were hearing immediately after October 7th. So can you characterize the closeness of the relationship right now?
It's extremely close. And we're, as was transmitted by the president in the call of Prime Minister Netanyahu yesterday, we remain solidly behind Israel as they continue to try to eliminate this threat to their people and to their sovereignty, and they're going to continue to get security assistance from the United States. There's no daylight there whatsoever. Now, look, we're friends, and friends don't have to agree on every single nuance and every single word. The Prime Minister speaks for a sovereign nation and for a sovereign people, and he should obviously, be queried about the points that he's making, but it doesn't mean that we're somehow backing away from our friend and our ally Israel, the strongest ally we have in the Middle East, or we're backing off our support for what they're trying to do to protect their people.
Or Netanyahu in particular, given the Politico reporting from a little while ago that was a point of discussion whether he'd be involved.
I'm not going to get into the confirming that kind of those kind of press reports. I would just tell you these are two men that have known each other a long time. And I don't think it's any shock to anybody that on a political spectrum, they're not exactly always in the same place on every issue. But one thing they do agree on is that Israel has a right to exist as a country. And they have a right and a responsibility to defend that country and their citizens against the threat that was posed to them like on October 7th. And in the United States, they will continue to find a true friend that will continue to support their ability to do that.
Okay. Peter.
John, we know about the strike.